Alright, I'm just doing a little bit more self promos before we get started. But soon to change my card soon, so I'll be on the lookout for next week's live stream. But hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Stories After Dark Live. It is the live stream where I narrate your favorite creepypastas, and for your listening viewership or listenership, and it always happens after dark. Sorry it took me so long to get back to you people, but I thought I can try to get a quick shower before I can be able to live stream and entertain all of you. But I'm just glad to be here. So, how are you guys doing tonight? Let's see who's in the chat. I'm also doing some self promos on Discord, so bear with me. Let's see who we have in the house tonight. We have Creepy Clown Girl. Welcome. We also have Subject Illuminate. Welcome, my friend. I gotta say, this theme song you made for me, it is awesome, man. You are the man. If some of you don't know who Subject Illuminate is, he is a music composer. So if you want to go check him out, just copy and paste Subject Illuminate's thing on the search bar and subscribe to him, since YouTube took away the power to go to everybody else's channels through their name. Let's see, and we have Onyx Valet, welcome. And we also have Lily C Nation, welcome. Thank you for holding down the fort for me. And I hope I can make your dreams come true with War Frights. Oh god, that was corny. And we have Boggs Official with his creepy eyes there, welcome. And we also have Mutant Artificial Intelligence, welcome. I haven't seen you in a long time, man. How have you been? Good. Anime! We have Anime Atomi, what's up? Thank you for coming. And so far, we got some, and I believe that's all we got for right now. Let's see here, I got a few more self promos. I keep forgetting that Theater Horror is the self promo and not the Haunted House, and Creepy Clown Girl is Discord, the Carnival of Horrors. I apologize for that one. Anime! Yeah, Anime, you're an awesome chick. And for those who don't know why the hell me and Anime yell out each other's names, I don't know, I guess that's our way of saying hello. But I'm glad y'all can make it out here. I mean, this is like the first time in like, what? 2-3 months at least that I streamed. Help me out here. Yeah, okay. So just a month, alright. Wait, has it been a month? It's probably been a month. And while you look over that, we have Sir's Death. Bestie! Welcome. Yeah. And don't worry, you're my bestie too. Yeah. Oh, and if you're wondering if I'm talking to myself or whatever, well, technically I am. I'm talking to you, but nobody else is in the room. I actually have Lily C Nation in the on the phone with me, making sure everything is all good and making sure I don't fuck up. Bah yourself. if I can figure out a way to get multiple people on here, we would be streaming together. Yeah, but for right now, she is on Instagram call with me, so you're probably not going to hear her. Yeah, we'll figure it out though. I mean, you and I both discussed that we were probably gonna do like a podcast. We get together. As a matter of fact, yeah. And she's also talking in chat. You know what? Why do I do this without trying to wake the baby up? Okay, say something.
Hello.
Okay, that's a little loud.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's good. Yeah, like I said, Lily's on Instagram call right now. This is the best we can do. But you want to say anything to the lovelies?
Hello, everyone.
No.
How are you?
No. Say it the way you always say it. Sing it.
No.
Come on, please.
Okay, fine. Hey, you. Hello, hola, konnichiwa.
Atta girl. Recovering from radiation. Oh shit. I'm sorry, Saris.
Gosh.
Yeah. By the way, is there a delay coming from me? Coming from my end? Probably is. Hang on. Yeah, hang on. I gotta let this dog out. But yeah, I guess enough jibber jabber for one day. You want to go ahead and sit back with the lovelies while I read some stories? Yeah, Saris, I did know, but I figured you would tell from your end. Well, on here, because but yeah, I really hope you get better soon. But yeah, it's time to get spooky. Duke, knock it off. You don't need any more. We don't need any more interruptions from the pupper gallery. Still there, Lily?
Yep, I'm just being quiet. It'll be loud.
Go to my bookmarks. I want to find something that's challenging for me. Here's a video. Here's a story that I did a while back. Oh, not the Eighth Man. My bookmarks are not cooperating with me. Here's a story I did a while back while I was trying to Hello, Sock Goblin Maisie, what the fuck? Welcome. Here's a story I did a while back. It's written by writer Josh. It's in the creepypasta.org site. This story is called I'm Not Brain Daddy. So I'm gonna do this intro right. Let's all sit back, relax, grab a taco, stay warm by the fire, and let us begin. I've never been what you call a gamer. Sure, I own a console. It's outdated by now. I like to play the old game. I like to play the old game, but that's about it. I'm almost 40. Old enough. Old enough now that when I was at the height of my gaming years, all that really entrailed was getting together with friends to play Mario or Castlevania or Excitebike or Punch Out, maybe Sonic, if a friend had a Genesis, which no one does anymore. Keeping up with the latest trends in gaming was never interesting to me. I have a lot of interests: reading, watching movies and television, listening to music, but gaming? Pfft, it was never a hobby, more like a pastime. Like most pastimes, I don't really understand when someone makes a lifestyle out of it. Today, the gaming scene isn't aimed at the casual gamer. Where is it? You get accused of being a quote unquote noob if you aren't up to date on everything. It's almost a religion. So I leave it alone and have been content to do so for several years now. For the most part, the gaming world has also left me in peace. There was one time, however, when the gaming world decided not to leave me in peace. In fact, the world experience was enough to turn me off gaming for life. It happened at a pretty low time in my life. I just had a fight with my ex-wife, filed for divorce for me. No, wait. I just had my ex-wife file for divorce from me, and I had to move back with my parents while looking for a new place to live. I had recently gotten a new job after the one I had been at fired me for all the times I missed due to divorce proceedings. My new job was as a system analyst for a major company. I was one of many, a cog in the machinery, but I had been in a few jobs like this in the past, and they all operated differently. Some of them you only had to care about while. Whew. Sorry, I'm a little rusty. Some of them you only had to care about while you were there, while others expected you to bring your work home for. While others expected you to bring your home. Fuck. While others expected you to bring your work home with you. And I had not yet figured out which kind of job this was. So when the call came, and I didn't immediately recognize the voice or the number, my first inclination was that it was probably someone from work. My mother answered it, and I heard from across the room a male voice ask if Brandon was there. Mother handed me the phone. Hello? I answered. Is this Brandon Coates? Is this Brandon Coates? Yes, who is this? I need to confirm some codes. At this point, I still thought this was a work call. I didn't recognize the voice at all. But I didn't know everyone at the office yet. Maybe this guy needed me to confirm my employee ID or something. Or perhaps he needed to stay to make sure I had all the access I needed for the systems I was going to be helping maintain. What source codes? I asked. Look, the fucking codes you provided aren't working, said the voice. At this point, I began to realize this wasn't a work call. I was momentarily stunned, unsure how to respond to this jackass who was already getting hostile with me. The next words removed any doubt that he had gotten the wrong Brandon Coates for NBA Live on Xbox 360. I'm only barely aware of the game system called shit. I thought everybody was asleep. I gotta check on the. It's always the grandpa that is always awake. Anyways, I'll try to keep it silent. I'm only barely aware of the game system called Xbox. Check out my systems real quick. I've never played a game on it, nor did I ever plan to. Also, my job had nothing whatsoever to do with game systems. I'm sorry, I said. I'm pretty sure you have the wrong number. Don't fucking lie to me. This dude was really angry now. More angry than he should be. Over something as simple as dialing the wrong person in the phone book. You're Brandon Coates. You said so. Now fix these goddamn codes, or fuck you, fucking brain daddy punk. Okay, I said. I'm hanging up now. Don't call me again. He was still yelling as I hung up the phone. I didn't give the matter a second thought. Likely the guy was just pissed that and said, "So I'm sure people go to sleep." Sorry about that. Oh, I'm gonna lay back. My back's hurting. I didn't give the matter a second thought. Likely the guy was just pissed and said some things in the heat of anger that he would regret when he calmed down later. But a couple of days later, I got another call. This time, my father answered it, and after a moment, handed the phone to me with a concerned expression on his face. I took it and said hello again. The voice on the phone was not the same man who called before. Brandon Coates? Speaking. Listen, fuck you, Brain Daddy. You're a fraud. You're a joke. If I see you again, you're fucking dead. I couldn't help it. I got pissed. Listen, fuck nugget. You got the wrong guy. I told your buddy a few days ago that I'm not Brandon Coates. You're looking for. I'm not the Brandon Coates you're looking for. And this call is harassment. Yeah? You like it? Wanna suck my dick? I hung up. I almost couldn't muster the restraint to keep from hurling the phone across the room. Who are these people, Brendan? My father asked. The look on his face made me realize that he was concerned, not for his son, who was being harassed for the crime of sharing a name with another guy, but concerned about his son, who might be involved in something dangerous. I haven't said anything to them about the last call the other than wrong number, but a second call from an obviously different person, cursing me out and threatening me. Dad was sitting close. Dad was sitting close enough. Dad was sitting close enough to me that I know he heard the other person's threats. His suspicions were raised. My parents and I get along okay, but to say they haven't always been on board with things I pursue is an understatement. For one, they were against me marrying my ex-wife to begin with, and several times in my life I had money problems. I could tell by the way my father asked, "Who are these people?" that he fully expected me to answer, as if I knew. He likely thought they were moneylenders or worse. Wondered if I started selling drugs or something. The truth in this case would set me buck. The truth in this case would truly set me free, at least as far as he was concerned. They think I'm this other guy who has the same name, I said. They keep calling me Brain Daddy. They think I'm involved with an Xbox 360 or something. I have no idea what they want, but they won't believe they have the wrong guy. All these calls need to stop, son, Dad said. The tone of his voice exactly the same as the one he used to use when I was at school. These bad grades need to stop, son. Just the same tone. Like the calls were my fault. I honestly didn't know. What to do. Contrary to whatever my father's suspicions are, I have never been involved in any criminal activity, and I didn't know how to deal with harassing phone calls. Also, a naive part of me. Hang on a second. Twitter notifications. Fuck. Stop. Anyways, where was I? Contrary to whatever my father's suspicions are, I have never been involved in any criminal activity. And I didn't know how to deal with harassing phone calls. Also, a naive part of me thought the calls would stop on their own. That sounded like the easiest way to deal with it. For about a week, it was. And then, one Saturday, when I had nothing else to do, and both parents were gone, the phone rang. I took one look at the caller ID and let it ring. The number and caller's name were blocked. It would most probably be someone calling for mom and dad. I had made it a point to not answer their phone if they weren't there. After all, I had a cell phone, and most people who needed to contact me would use that. My parents are very old-fashioned people. They don't have voicemail. In this case, it was probably a good thing they didn't, or it would have been them that heard the message. They still had an answering machine, as if it was still 1988, and like all answering machines, it didn't give a shit about privacy. Blasting through the house loud enough that 2 senior citizens could hear it, no matter which room they are in, came the following message. Brain Daddy. drawled a gravelly voice. The person on the other end sounded either like they had just woken up, or was drunk, or had a bad cold. I saw you at GameCon. So beautiful. It was like lightning through my penis. Man, you're gonna take my dick up your ass so soon. There was more, but it was just muffled cursed words. I let it finish, and then I immediately erased the message. I decided it was time to get serious. Clearly, they weren't going to stop. I could hardly believe what was going on. These people, all of them, sounded like young men in their early 20s, tops, had taken what I was starting to realize was an online vendetta way over the line. Their actions were bordering on illegal, and I know I had to do something before they decided to. Who knows? Show up at my parents' doorway armed. I fired up my laptop and Googled Brandon Coates. Brain Daddy. Search results were plentiful. The first 3 hits were nothing close to what I was looking for. But the third had the headline, Brain Daddy, Brandon Coates, gives his opinion on Call of Duty Black Ops. There was more, but that was all I needed. Clearly, this was the guy that the assholes calling me had thought they had reached. I opened the link and read a little way. It turns out there was a guy in my city, a really young guy by comparison, who did indeed have my name, and who was apparently quite the gaming guru. I had never heard of him because I wasn't a gamer. But if I were, there is no way I would have known who Brain Daddy was. He had a following on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and several gaming websites, wherein he would offer advice, reviews, offer cheat codes, etc. Apparently, he was one of the most sought-after game reviewers in my area. He had made friends with some of the most influential names in the gaming scene, and from what I was starting to pick up on, he had also made several enemies. Ugh. Finding his email was no challenge. As luck would have it, he did have it listed on his Facebook page. And it was probably a business address. Maybe one that he didn't even personally check. But I didn't care. Even if one of his subordinates read it, they would at least take the message I was about to send seriously. Brendan, Mr. Coates, I don't know, you don't know me, but we have the same name, and apparently this is enough for several severely misguided people to confuse us. Over the past few weeks, I've received several harassing, threatening phone calls from people who believe I'm you. I neither know nor care what you did to piss them off so badly, but I urge you to take action to get this all to stop. You appear to have resources to contact your followers, and if I were you, I would use those resources to inform them that they have been contacting a person with your name and behaving in a legal manner. If these calls do not stop, the next step is legal action. I have a feeling you don't want that. I urge you to take this seriously. These calls stop, or you'll hear from my lawyer. I know what you're probably thinking. Why blame him for this? Why threaten him with legal action? After all, it wasn't him that had made the calls. No, it wasn't. But I know a thing or two about online flame wars. And I know that generally, when it's reached its level, like this obviously had, both parties likely shared blame. If legal action was being threatened, this other Brandon Coates would take me seriously. It turns out I really should not have done that. The next call was not to my parents' house. It was to my cell phone. I wasn't able to answer it when the call came through. I was at work. In fact, I didn't even see the call until my lunch break. When I checked my phone and saw a waiting voice message. The call history showed one missed call. Naturally, it was a blocked number. I had no way of reaching the person who had left me this message. Of course, I knew who it was. My heart was hammering in my chest with more anger than with fear, but I was a little afraid too. Whoever these assholes were, they had gotten a hold of my unlisted cell phone number, which I had only recently acquired after changing cities to move in with my parents, and which I had in no way, shape, or form put online, even in an email. When I went to my car and received the message, I sat there feeling hotter than I should, considering it was snowing outside, and listened. The voice spoke. The voice that spoke was deep, raspy, haggard, and barely qualified as human.
Hello, Mr. Brandon Coates, aka Brain Daddy. Obviously, you don't know what's good for you. You think you can fuck with us, but you're wrong. We know where you live. We watched you sleep. We're watching you right now as you sit in your car. You will never see us, but we always see you. You belong to us now, fuckball. Your worst nightmare has only begun.
Cold sweat broke out all over me. I was shaking. Never in my life have I felt such fear. My head began to whip around, looking at everyone who was passing by where my vehicle sat. Just on the side of the road, less than a block from my office. That guy in a gray suit. That guy in gray suit. That guy in the gray suite. Was he looking at me? No, he was looking behind my car at a female jogger. What about the seemingly benign homeless man? Just a few feet away from me. Or what about the guy about across the street? My gaze went past the man, waiting to cross. Behind me was a silent, still figure, staring straight at my car. No one else seems to notice him, but I couldn't help it. He was short, almost dwarfish, and his proportions were strange. One arm was longer than the other, and his head and neck sat at a strange place on his body, almost to his shoulder. He was wearing a Halloween werewolf mask. In shock, I straightened in my seat and blinked my eyes for a few times. When I looked again, he was gone. My phone rang just then. It sounded to my stress. It sounded in my stressed ears like an air raid siren.
we've let you see us, Brain Daddy. I hope you understand we mean business.
I swallowed. Clearly, this person would not be threatened by legal action.
What do you want?
I croaked.
We want you,
Said the voice.
to die.
There was silence on the other end for a while. I thought the person had hung up, and then,
But first, we want to kill your parents. First your mom, and then your dad, so he could watch your die. Then we're going to kill your cheating whore of a wife. Then we're going to kill your brother. And when everyone you care about is gone, we're going to kill you. Why?
I heard myself ask, as if as if from far away. Why are you doing this?
Because you don't know who to fuck with and who not to fuck with, Brain Daddy. You don't know the kind of deep well of shit you've disturbed. Apparently nobody told you these kinds of things we can do. Or maybe you don't believe we can do them. I hope you believe now, Brain Daddy.
I swallowed again. I was totally dry, so it felt like my throat was rubbing against sandpaper.
I thought this was about cheat codes or something.
It always starts small, said the voice. It kept getting deeper. And more evil sounding. If Satan ever spoke to me, I imagine this is what his voice would sound like.
Hard-minded shits like you think you can scam and never get caught. We're here to show you just how wrong you are. You have no idea how badly you fucked up.
The line went dead. I spent the rest of that week in a cloud of fear and misery. I could hardly eat. I could barely breathe. I didn't dare call the police or trying to warn my loved ones what was happening to me. I knew they were watching. I knew that one false move from me would only hasten the punishment they felt I was due. And then, in the corner of my screen, a chat window popped up, opened. I hadn't used MSN chat for over a year. Most of the people I used to keep in contact with were no longer a part of my life. I had forgotten that the program was in my startup list and constantly running in the background. At the sight of it, I felt the panic rise. My vision blurred for an instant. I was certain it was these people again, these faceless people who were always watching. But the screen name was Brain Daddy. Here's a copy and paste of our chat. It was still logged in under my now ancient screen name, Drink PBR. Brain Daddy.
I'm so sorry, dude.
Drink PBR. What the fuck, man? Brain Daddy.
I can't stop what's happening. I'm real sorry.
Drink PBR. What's happening? I can't breathe. I'm afraid to go outside. Brain Daddy.
It's complicated, man. I can't really explain how I never meant to hurt people.
Drink PBR. Dude, I warned you that if you didn't make this stop, I get the police involved. Who are these people? Brain Daddy.
Nothing the police can do.
Drink PBR. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Brain Daddy. Listen, I don't have much time to explain. They were after me, but I panicked and told them I wasn't me. I saw your name come up on Facebook and I said it was me. Drink PBR. Okay, first, your ass is so sued. Second, your smug fucking face is plastered all over these gaming sites. How do you manage to tell them I'm you? Brain Daddy. They don't see what they do. They don't see like we do. Not really. Can't explain much better. They're not like us. They love to play games, but they hate it when you offend them. I told them once to go fuck themselves. Now they want me dead. Drink PBR. No, they want me dead, asshole. And they're watching me right now, so don't tell me they don't see. Brain Daddy. They hear you, and they smell you, but they don't see. Like I said, it's complicated. That's why I'm messaging you. If you don't talk, they don't know. Drink PBR. Just tell me who they are. I don't want to spend the rest of my life afraid. Brain Daddy. That's not how this works. You don't get to escape. They say they were coming for you. Then you're dead. Drink PBR. You escaped them by telling me I was you. Brain Daddy. Got lucky. There was another Brandon Coates in my city. But we're the only two. Except he was quite wrong about that. He was the only Brandon Coates in the city. I was, in fact, born Warren Brandon Coates Jr. I went by Brandon because my father went by Warren. I quickly logged off the chat and went to work. I went to my Facebook page and changed my name to Warren Coates Jr. I did the same thing on my Twitter. I did the same to my Twitter name, my LinkedIn resume, my email address. I changed my voicemail message on my phone to "You have reached Warren," etc., etc. I pulled out my driver's license and smiled seeing that my name read Coates, Warren Brandon Jr. And I waited. It wasn't until the next day that I heard from them again. I let my phone ring and eventually went to voicemail. I waited for over an hour before I had the courage to retrieve the message. It was the same voice, but the tone in his message was light and friendly.
Oh, sorry. Must have had the wrong person.
I never heard from them again. After a few years, I was able to relax, finally convinced that I was safe. Yesterday, I googled Brandon Coates, Brain Daddy again. The first hit was his obituary. That suited me just fine. Fuck him anyway.
Wow.
And that was I'm Not Brain Daddy by writer Josh. Let's see who I chased away. Okay. I'll probably put Lily to bed because I'm not hearing anything from her. Lily, still awake? Anyways. Let's see what I missed. Holy cow, new. Onyx says, holy cow, EO is nearly at 1K. Right? Not bad for not posting anything for almost a month. Let's see here. Who else is here? See, everybody's getting well acquainted here. Yun says, sounds like an old record player in the background. I got some fire burning in the background of my OBS, but okay. Amazing what the fuck says. What's the difference between beer nuts and deer nuts? Beer nuts cost about 50 cents a pack. Deer nuts just under $1. Oh, for fuck's sake. This motherfucker. Let's see here. That creepy clown girl showing my info. And we have the Hero Eskew. What's up, man? Welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? And we have Gathering of Crows. What's up? Welcome. Glad you enjoyed the story. But yeah, it just goes to show you. One, when it comes to gaming, people will get pissed off easily. And two, identity theft is no joke, so be sure to keep it protected. Not much. I think I put my manager to sleep. Lily. I put her to sleep. Well, sweet dreams. Well, if I can put her to sleep, then I can probably put anybody to sleep. Lila! What's up? Hey, I'm glad to see you again. Alright, I'm gonna find like some Gatorade and try to quench my thirst because, yeah, my throat's a little dry. Mutant says, nice ending, right? Homeboy got what he deserved. Yeah, I'm gonna find something to drink. Just because I'm I was gonna drink some Gatorade to get to my next story, but apparently the dogs need to go out, so we're gonna take a short break. And believe me, that story was long, so we'll be right back. guys, I am back. Sorry that took me so long, but one of the dogs I thought was defecating or whatever, so I went outside to make sure she was okay, but caught her digging outside the trash. Digging in the outside trash because there was some grease from barbecuing ribs this evening, and she thought she was slick and thought she can go all the way back over there or whatever, and whatever. Anyways, she's not supposed to be eating garbage out of the thing. It's gonna upset her stomach. What's that track's name? I don't know. I don't remember, but hold on a second. Lower this a little bit. This track is called, because I know I got this from the YouTube libraries. It is called Schizo, and it's in the hip hop dark areas. But yeah, I heard this on one YouTube video. Heard this on one YouTube video, and I was like, damn, it should be bumping. And I found out it was from the YouTube audio libraries. I'm like, I kind of took the mystique out of it. But yeah, the song is called Schizo. I don't remember the artist's name, but if you look into the YouTube audio library or whatever, it should be there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. And no problem, gathering. I just hope you like it and you give the artist some credit. I should give people credit, but I'm kind of like everywhere at once. Anyways. Okay, I know Lily said earlier before she conked out that there was a lag or whatchamacallit, a delay in the live stream. So if I'm reading your messages late, whatever messages you're sending in the chat in the stream, it's coming on my phone quickly, but on my computer it's coming up slow, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Alright, let's get on to our next story. Alright. Okay, let's see. Our next story is called Within the Darkness by Lupus Creepus. Excuse me. I'm going to do the pop out chat, so that will help. Within the Darkness by Lupus Creepus. It all started after moving into my new house. Yeah, that's pretty cliche. Believe me, I know. But it's... Uh-oh. Okay, that was weird. Okay, can everybody hear me? Did everybody leave? Because I'm seeing my viewer count going up and down. And I saw the white circle of death. All who are those still listening, say aye. I got one from a mutant. Well, you hear you? Okay, we're good. Okay, because I think I'm starting to lag a little bit. Alright, here we go. Within the Darkness, Lupus Creepus. It all started after moving into my new house. Yeah, that's pretty cliche. Believe me, I know. But it's what happened. I never experienced anything supernatural before, and though interested, I never really experienced anything to happen to me. I was able to rent the house for pretty cheap. I didn't think anything of it because it was old and not in the best of neighborhoods. So I guess I just got a good deal. After moving everything in, things were fine for a while. I don't remember exactly when it started because it seemed so minor at the time. I'd leave a light on in the kitchen or the bathroom, and come back to find it off. Honestly, I thought I was just forgetting that I turned them off already when I came back. After a while, I began to wonder. It started leaving a couple of lights on. It started leaving a couple of lights on purpose. Sometimes nothing would happen. Sometimes I come back to find the lights turned off. By now, I figured out that something was off. I was really scared, but just confused. I thought maybe something was just wrong with the electronics. I started leaving lights on a bit more often because I thought I might be able to get some sign of why they would randomly shut off. That's when it started to take another turn. The first real time I remembered something crazy happening was when I left the kitchen and living room light on while I was asleep. I woke up to a deep rumbling growl coming from the kitchen. Now from the bedroom, you could see down the hall to the living room, and that room is connected to the kitchen. I remember waking up and thinking that there was an animal or something in my house. I looked down the hall toward the living room to see the light darken. Somebody had flicked off the lights from the kitchen. Another little growl came, this time from the living room, and I nearly screamed as I saw something bolt across the length of the hall opening, and then the living room light went out. I couldn't tell exactly what it was though. It just seemed like a black shadow or something. It didn't really matter. I was scared shitless. I bolted from my bed then and threw on the bedroom light. Expected something to be in this room and getting ready to come after me. Nothing. There wasn't anything in the room. I let out a low breath, and then I slowly moved down the hall into the living room. Once I got to the end, I practically ran to throw on the light switch there. Again, nothing. Kitchen next, and once again, nothing. I was starting to think I dreamed it all. I dreamed all of it before I went to turn off the kitchen light and stopped. Now, I was a grown man, but here I was terrified to turn off the switch. I'll admit it, I slept with all the lights on that night. That was a mistake. When I woke up the next morning, all the lights were off once again. When I pushed myself out of bed, it winced as my body felt sore. I pulled the sheets off to see long red marks running down along my legs and arms. It looked like something scratched me in the night. That terrified the hell out of me, but not nearly so much as what I saw around the house. Every light I left on was smashed. Like every light bulb that was on last night was broken. Every lamp knocked over and smashed in. My breath caught in my throat as I looked around. Something was fucked up as hell here. And something tried to, do something to me. I called in for work that day and went to immediately replace all the lights. I didn't know what to do then. I thought about leaving, but I know this probably sounds stupid. But this was my home. It was my first time away from my family, and this was my home. I couldn't give it up, so I stayed. Even as it got worse, even though I was beginning to become terrified of the dark, I couldn't really sleep with the light on me at night in the bedroom. I leave the other lights on though, like in the hall or the living room, giving me enough to see pretty well in the darker room. And almost every night, I wake up in the middle of the night to hear something growling and prowling around the living room, and then the lights would shut off. I didn't want to go. I was terrified at the thought of being in the same room with whatever was in there. So I curled up in bed and prayed it never came in. One night, after this went on for a while, I had it. I bought a gun and turned on every light in the house. Then I sat down in the middle of the living room with my gun in my lap and a baseball bat sitting next to me. I waited. I waited. There was nothing at first for a long time. At around 2 in the morning, I began to hear it. Oddly, it was behind me. I turned and peeked toward the hallway to my bedroom. I could hear that familiar growl. I swallowed and held my gun in my hand and the bat in the other, and slowly began to step around to get a better view of my bedroom from the living room. As I began to get a view of my bed, I heard a loud thump, followed by an inhuman roar. I, being the brave man I was, jumped back and away from the hallway. I wanted to end this all, but, dear God, I didn't want to deal with that thing. I could hear tearing and smashing, but I don't know how I caught it. But I did manage to hear an audible click, and then nothing. Slowly, I went back to peek down the hall, and the light was off once again. A deep breath, and I ventured forth, my weapons ready. When I came to my bedroom and flicked the light back on, I gasped. My bed was ravaged, torn completely apart. It was like some animal had jumped into it and just ripped it to shreds. I stepped forward to look at what was left. I stepped forward to look at what was left of my bed and just stood in shock for who knows when. It wasn't until I heard the sound of a familiar growl and I turned around, standing near my door, right at the light switch, was when I finally saw it. It was a man. A white and rotting man with a mangled body that looked like he had once been a dog's chew toy, staring at me. I was too in shock to even raise my weapons. He stared at me for just a moment and then flicked off the light. I screamed. I'm not even ashamed to admit it. I screamed and bolted. I didn't care of where I was. That man had been standing. I ran right past where I had seen him, swinging my bat like a madman. I nearly put a hole in the hallway as I ran through into the safe light of the hall. I turned to look back then, just in time to see him once again near the hall's light switch. He had turned that one off too, but then I didn't want to fight. I wanted to be safe. I burst past the living room and into the brightness of my kitchen. I heard the sound of growling and scratching nearly all around me. Then and I knew he was coming back. I looked back to once again see that mangled and rotting corpse of a man, and turned off another light with a broken finger, and plunged me into terrifying darkness. I broke for the living room. This was going to be my final stand. I had to fight here. I drew close to the standing lamp. That was my last line of defense. It hated the dark, so I stayed right here, next to this comforting standing lamp. I waited for it to turn it off, but it never did. I looked around, and quiet. Nothing but quiet. I turned then to look at the saving grace of the lamp that refused to yield. I started to find myself laughing. A crazy but alive laugh, and I thought I'd finally be okay. I stepped closer, and I swear I almost hugged the lamp. Until I saw it. I heard the growl, first coming, not from behind me, but in front. From that lamp, my eyes widened, and I stared at the light from that lamp intensify. I stumbled back in. I don't know what happened, but I think I tripped on something. I just know I found myself flat on my back. I just know I found myself flat on my back, staring up at that bright, intense light. It wasn't comforting any longer, just hot and heavy and bright. I thought it was going to burn me away. Then it came. I have no words to describe what poured from the lamp's light. It was hideous, twisted, filled with rage. I know I'll never forget those eyes, though. Bright, hot, and white. Two glowing circles of pure malice. It hated me. It hated everything about me. And not just me. It hated all of us. Every human being. But it was stuck here. And it would lash out at what it could be. And would lash out at what it could. Me. I don't know how I knew this, but I just knew. It lunged for me, and I prepared myself for a painful death. Click. The light went out. Once again came darkness. Sweet, quiet, relaxing darkness. I stayed on the ground for a long moment, letting my eyes adjust as I kept my gaze fixated on where my standing lamp was. As the seconds passed, I could start to make him out. That mangled man standing by my lamp. One torn hand upon the switch as he looked down at me. I understood then. I understood what it meant. I understood what it all meant. Everything that happened. The man pulled his hand away from it and then pointed its mangled finger toward it before, very closely, shaking his head from side to side. All I could find myself doing was nodding. He wasn't the one trying to harm me. All this time, all those instances, he was trying to protect me. That creature could only come into the light. And this mangled man had been trying to keep me safe. He didn't want someone else to repeat his mistakes. I moved out the very next day and never looked back. Whatever it was confined to that house, and so far, nothing has come at me from another light source. However, that thing will always stick with me in my mind. Every night in a new apartment, I made a habit of wandering around the house, making sure every light was turned off, every curtain is closed, and made sure to plunge myself in quiet, comforting, and safe pitch darkness. Whew. Well, maybe it's a good thing I turned off all the lights here. Oh, damn. I must have bored everybody else. Yeah, I know, mutant. I mean, I know there's some vengeful spirits that will bug the crap out of somebody. But I know there's also malevolent spirits that will actually tell you, yo, something bad went down here. Get the fuck out. But yeah, it just goes to show you, always do your research before you... Always do your research before you rent out something. Just gonna let my voice rest for a little bit. How y'all doing tonight? Probably gonna do another hour of streaming because we've been here since. But yeah, we've been here since what, 11:45 at least, maybe, I don't know. Used to rent out rooms, but my basement was full. I used to rent out rooms, but not anymore. My basement is full since Mutant Artificial Intelligence. Gathering Crow says, I'm good, but I gotta run. I gotta get back to work, editing my next video. Thanks for the story time. Oh, well, thank you for coming by, Crow. Really appreciate it. Huh. Oh, welcome back, creepy clown girl. Its subject is wrapped up in his blanket, stocking up on nightmare fuel with narrations. But yeah, thanks for coming by, Crow. Really do appreciate it. And for those still here, don't forget to share this stream with everybody you know. You too, Crow. Have a good night. Your brain is broken. How's your brain broken, subject? Okay, I'm looking for my next story. Well, not my story, but you know what I mean. Ian says, when I want to hear some random late night creepiness, I tune into Evil Outcast. Oh. Well, thanks for the endorsement, dude. Subject says, well, first spent the morning playing Friday Night Funkin' and a concerning amount of candy, and now I am on airplane mode. Oh, I see what you mean. Here's a classic creepypasta that some of you may know. And unfortunately, there's no author for this, but if y'all can tell me, perfect timing, hope things are going well. Aw, hey Boston Actress, welcome. How you been? You're just in time to get ready for my next story. I'm considering covering this soon. This next story has no author's name, but it is in the Creepypasta Wikia. The story is called, and I know this is a gaming creepypasta, but you know what? Fuck it. I actually like this creepypasta, so we're gonna do this. This game is called NES Godzilla. And we're gonna do chapter 1. When I was a little kid, two things I loved most in life were Godzilla and NES games. So naturally, when Godzilla Monster of Monsters came out, I was like, it was like a dream come true. Well, almost. To sum it up, most of the game revolved around getting through very repetitive outer space levels while smashing up tanks and jets. And then fighting against Godzilla's monster enemies. Overall, it was pretty mediocre, but back then I didn't care. When I got the game as a present for my 10th birthday, I played it night and day as much as I could. Unfortunately, I had traded the game for Armageddon a year later. Much to my regret, when I found out what the game was like. Recently, I had bought a new NES system, and through a lot of hunting, asking around, my friend Billy finally managed to find a copy of Godzilla Monster of Monsters. I was pumped to play my favorite childhood game. It never occurred to me to ask where Billy found it. He also gave me some other games like Legend of Zelda, Bomberman, and some stupid thing called Action 52. But Godzilla had to come first. So I started the game, and the nostalgia came flooding back like a tidal wave. Godzilla's 8-bit theme song flooded proudly through the speakers, and I was soon grinning like an idiot. Some people laugh at me for playing such outdated games, but I never had as much enjoyment for any other games other than those on the NES. Those 8-bit games take me back to when things were much simpler, more safe. But after what's happened with this game, I don't have those feelings anymore. I have forgotten how quick the fun of smashing things as Godzilla wore off in the scrolling levels. The game bombards you with bullets and things crashing into you from every direction. You are too big to avoid most of them. Although my excitement had worn down some. It wasn't long at all before I got to my first boss battle. My first opponent was Gazora, an obscure squid kaiju who had never been in the Godzilla movie. The most annoying thing about fighting Gazora is that he always backs you into a corner and starts smacking you with his tentacle. And you are unable to move until he gets off you. This move doesn't do any damage, but it can stall you until the timer runs out, and you have to start the fight over. He regains some health. It's as annoying as it sounds, and of course, he did it when I fought him. Only for some reason this caused the game to glitch up, because once he started smacking me, he never stopped. The timer is supposed to end the fight in about 40 seconds. But this lasted nearly 5 minutes. After a while, the graphics started messing up, with little red blocks all over the place. Which was weird, but I just took the game out, blew on it, and then started again. I wasn't about to let a little glitch stand in my way. So I started again, this time defeating Gazora and the levels other boss monsters. Other boss monster shit. Oh, I forgot how this one's pronounced. and the level's other boss monster, Magura. Fuck it, I'll sound out the bit. So, Mogira. There we go. And the level's other boss monster, Mogira, without any problems. So then, it was on to the next planet, Mars. I browsed around the board and found something unexpected. Where Varen's piece should have been, there was instead a piece representing Titanosaurus. There were only 10 kaiju in the game. And Titanosaurus was not one of them. Or so I thought. Perhaps Titanosaurus was originally intended to be in the game, but was swapped out with Varen for some reason. So I began to feel very excited. Not only was I playing my favorite game, but I was playing a prototype of some sort with a new monster. Needless to say, I ran through the levels as fast as I could to see Titanosaurus in action. I fought Gazora again and beat him before he could do his tentacle smack. But this time the glitch started happening when he died. Gazora's sprite didn't sink to the bottom, but instead seemed to be devoured by the glitch. His eyes started randomly spawning all over the screen. I know now these glitches with Gazora were my first warning sign that something was very wrong with this game. But foolishly I ignored it and proceeded on to fight Maguria. Somebody help me out with this pronunciation. Who this time had a glitch of his own. Maguria was twice the size he should have been, which startled me. Also considered harder to beat than usual, which is to say not at all. But soon I had defeated him also, and when he died, yet another glitch happened. This happened extremely fast, so I was lucky to get a screen cap of it. So I was lucky to get a screen cap of it at all. But what happened was that the giant Magura sprite started to shatter and melt. Also, if you look at the garbled text right in the corner of the screen, you'll notice what appears to be a bird in a cage. I still have no idea what that meant. Bulgira. Thank you, subject. Bulgira, thank you. At this point, I was about to fight Titanosaurus, and I was worried as to what kind of glitches would happen this time. But to my surprise, Titanosaurus looked just fine. Although all the game's bipedal monsters were the same height, Titanosaurus was a bit taller. But since Titanosaurus was actually taller than Godzilla in his first film debut, I thought this was kind of cool. After a very fun fight with the monster that wasn't supposed to be in the game, I took over the enemy base and proceeded to jump not to Jupiter like normal, but instead to Pathos. Let's say, should we do chapter 2? Fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. Chapter 2, Pathos. Pathos was the same as Jupiter in layout, except the board was dark blue rather than green. The first thing I noticed was that all the usual level icons had been replaced by a blue rock of some kind of orange honeycomb shape. Shit. Usual level icons have been replaced by a blue rock and some kind of orange honeycomb shape. There was one icon that had been part of the jungle icon shape, but I didn't pay much attention. But I didn't pay much thought of it. But I didn't pay much thought to it. I checked the other side of the board to see the new monster. Instead of Hedorah, it was Violente. But that couldn't have been right. Godzilla vs. Violente didn't come out until 1989. But this game was made in 1988. Perhaps Toho put Violente in the game, aimed to build excitement for the movie next year. But changed their minds. I tried to rationalize the game's abnormalities any way I could. But this would prove to be futile. Pathos' map song was the first new song I heard in the game. Like most of the new songs, it was hard to describe. I tried. It started out slow and suspenseful, much slower than any song in the game. But every 12 seconds or so, there would be a loud crashing sound. And the tempo would change. And the tempo changed. It was like the composer randomly played parts from 5 different songs with the same instruments. I moved Godzilla over to one of the many blue rock icons that had replaced the jungle icons and started the level. The level represented a blue mountain range with a blood-red planet in the sky. But there was something odd about the mountains. They had a shredded paper look to them. I thought at first maybe the glitch had affected it, but it looked far too intentional. I quickly noticed something else about this new level. There were no enemies at all, not even an obstacle. I should also mention that this was where the point meter started to become glitched beyond comprehension. But it didn't bother me much. I never kept up with game points. So without having to focus on anything, I listened to the music while walking through the level unopposed. The music had a sorrowful feel to it. It would have been rather pleasant had I heard it in a normal game. This level went on for 3 screens, but with no obstacles around. I finished it very quickly. I tried other levels at the same time to see if any enemies appeared, but there were none. There was little else to be seen in the Blue Mountains. So I tried the other level type. I started at one of the orange levels, and my eyes were assaulted with a grotesque background of tumorous orange eyes. Ugh. The sky was the same as the ground, so I assumed the game was indicating that this level takes place in a cave. The only enemies here were Magton, Magtagos spawn, but as you could see, the little bastards were everywhere. The music certainly didn't help. With the mixture of screeching sounds and loud drum beats that sounded like a monster's theme in a horror film. After completing it, I tried to avoid playing through any more of these. Fuck. I tried to avoid playing through any more of these levels whenever I could. The map was short. So it was only a few minutes before I was headed towards a rematch with Gazora and Mogera. But this time, their sprites and attack patterns were vastly different. I fought Mogera first. Mogera was fuck. Mogera's replacement was a flying machine with a slight resemblance to a Pascagoula alien. It was a bit like fighting Mothra, only it moved with a lot more grace. It attacked by spinning its front tentacles like a corkscrew. And it still had an eye beam, except now it fired from the drill. This lanky aberration had replaced Gazora, and the new beast was more of a challenge. It would run and jump at the first pace, constantly swinging its arms around, making it hard to get close. Of course, it had tried to pin me in the corner with as much annoying resolve as ever. I defeated it using a combination of tail whips and heat beam spamming. I defeated them and was going to fight Titanosaurus. But when I started the fight, Titanosaurus was nowhere to be seen, and the game simply went back to the map, with the Titanosaurus piece now missing. There was no one left to fight now but Biolente. So I eagerly started the battle. I was quickly surprised that Biolente started the fight in her rose form. She was immobile and used tentacles to keep me away from the main body, which took most of the damage. As expected, she turned into her final form after taking enough damage. The sprite looked pretty damn good for 8-bit. The battle technique was the same, except now Biolente can move, albeit slower than the other monster. Being hit by the tentacles did more damage now, and Biolente could do an acid spit, which I managed to avoid by jumping. Oh shit, the baby's awake. How much more do I have to do? Shit. Oh, the baby did so good. And Biolente could do an acid spit, which I managed to avoid by jumping in the screen cap. What? Oh, god damn it. Which I managed to avoid by jumping to the screen cap. not much more difficult than not much more difficult to beat than Titanosaurus. It only took 2 rounds, but when Biolente was gone, the music had stopped, and there was a new icon replacing the bass. This icon wasn't there before I beat Biolente. It resembled a red tribal mask, and I had a feeling of dread when I saw it. But since it replaced the bass, it must be the only way to exit Pathos. Moving Godzilla to the square and started the level. It was a hellish looking place with no sky, and only flickering fire in the background. The fire looked far more advanced than anything I've seen on the NES. There was music in the form of a slow, steady drum sound resembling a heartbeat. All the text on the top of the screen and the life bar were gone. In their place was a single bit of text in the middle of the screen that said,
Run!
My feeling of dread had intensified. I cautiously walked through the level, but like the Blue Mountains, there were no enemies. I paced around for a minute before thinking, run? From what? The first time it hit me, I didn't even see it. I heard a noise outside my room and turned back to see if something fell. Then I went back, and when I looked back, Godzilla was dying. I figured it must have been just. I figured it must have been just a glitch. But I wasn't going to play through the game without Godzilla, so I restarted the game, went to the password screen. Have I ever mentioned how creepy the password screen is? Have I ever mentioned how creepy the password screen music is? If you played the game, you know what I mean. It doesn't at all fit the mood of the game. It's more like something from a horror game. Maybe they made it like that so kids wouldn't cheat. I was quite annoyed at this point because I thought I was going to have to fight the monsters all again. But that didn't happen. The game started me off right where I was before. I started the red face level. So I tried again, making sure to pay attention this time. That's when I heard a low, bellowing sound. And then I saw it. This thing. Do you know that feeling your body has when you feel like you feel like you're in extreme danger? You start to recoil and tense up as the adrenaline flows through your veins. And your nerves start to feel very cold. That's the feeling I had when I took the screen cap. I haven't seen all the Godzilla movies, but I'm pretty damn sure this was never in any of them. It had to be something the creators made up. But what kind of sick fuck would put this chance? But what kind of sick fuck would put this in a children's game? By sheer dumb luck, or perhaps the adrenaline boost, I managed to run fast enough to get away from it. It ran very fast, so much so that if you saw it, you were almost certain you're going to die. And when I say die, I mean your monster gets killed instantly if the creature touches them. Once again, I got back to the map. I was so afraid that I was extremely tempted to just shut off the game and try to pretend this never happened. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't believe what I just seen. What I had just seen. It could have been real. And even if I wanted to continue, I still had to get Mothra through this chase level. But as I stayed inactive on the map screen for a few minutes, my fear was replaced by burning curiosity. What the hell had just happened? What was the rest of the game like? I had only had to beat this level with Mothra, and then it was on to the next world. But when I moved Mothra to the red face, the game registered it as me beating the level. I was quite relieved. I tried to prepare myself for the next world. Trance. Ooh. Shit. Well, after reading that, I'd say that's pretty intense. But what do you guys think? Should I start this series? Yes, no, maybe so. I really like this story, so maybe I might put it into consideration. Hey, Cool Cat, what's up? Well, thanks for coming by, Cool Cat. I hope you have a good day at work. And we're just past the 2-hour mark. And I think this would be a good time to stop. IBS, what's up? He's like, hell yeah, do it. Well, that's another story series that's going to be on my to-do list. But yeah, I gotta bone up on. If that's the case, I gotta bone up on my kaiju. Because, yeah. I really felt like a. I really felt like a jackass when I couldn't pronounce Mogura's. When I couldn't pronounce Mogura's name right. But thank you, Subject Illuminate, for pronouncing it for me. I really appreciate it. I bet you anything he's like, that's how it's pronounced, you fucking moron. But no, I know he means well. But honestly, I'm getting tired, and my throat's getting raspy. So I think I'm gonna end it right here. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Especially those who shared this stream with everybody. I know it's not a big turnout because it's late at night, and which is kind of weird because it's a Friday night. Because it's Friday night, and you ain't got no job, and you ain't got no shit to do. Hi, Mama. Aw, you're sweet. Oh. Well, thanks for coming out and saying hi, even though it was short. But yeah, I'm about to end this stream because, like I said, I need to rest up my throat, and See if I can try to use it for recording soon. Like I said, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. So I'm going to end with the usual. I didn't realize I was muted. But anyways, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. As usual, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and
Enjoy.
be sure to follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All my links will be in the description below. If you like to represent the Nightmare Ronin clan, consider checking out my merch store at teespring.com. If you like this channel to take a step forward into better quality and better videos, consider donating to my Patreon or my PayPal. So, for those of you who are still here, thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting me through all these years, and I know I'm going to try to put out more content for all of you. I got to try, because it's like Onyx Vale said, I am getting close to 1K, and to tell you the truth, it is kind of scary. But I know with all of us together, we can make it possible, and we will succeed. On that note, thank you all for coming out. Good night. And remember, I'll be seeing you in the shadows.